The Karix Empire had conquered dozens of worlds. Their fleets stretched across the stars like an endless shadow. To them, Earth was nothing, just another blue planet circling an ordinary sun. Reports from their spies were clear. Humans were weak. They had no great fleets, no massive colonies, no superweapons. Their wars were small, their technology behind. The Council of the Karix laughed when the order was given. Take Earth, make it ours. It will be easy. And so the fleet came. 1,000 warships broke through the dark of space, their silver hulls reflecting the cold light of the sun. They crossed the black void with speed and power, weapons armed, soldiers ready. To them, Earth was prey. When the first ships reached orbit, they expected resistance. Shields, defense satellites, orbital cannons, something. But what they found was silence. The blue planet turned slowly below them, its oceans glittering like jewels, its cities shining with fragile lights. There was no defense grid, no armed fleet waiting, only weather satellites and a few tiny space stations that looked more like toys than weapons. The alien commander sneered. Pathetic. This world is open to us, his officers agreed. They had fought against powerful enemies before. Empires with fleets of thousands, races with weapons that burned stars, but this was nothing. Down below, humans looked up at the night sky. To them, the stars seemed normal, but in hidden bunkers, deep under mountains and oceans, others were watching. They had known this day would come. For centuries, Earth had waited, but the Karix could not see that. To them, humans were still weak. The first landing craft broke through the clouds. They flew over forests, oceans, deserts, and finally toward human cities. New York, London, Beijing. They expected chaos, screaming crowds, leaders begging for peace. But the streets were strangely quiet. Too quiet. Alien soldiers marched through the ruined streets of one city. There were cars left abandoned, shops standing empty, lights flickering. Yet no people. It was as if the city had died before they arrived. The commander frowned. Where are they? Where are the humans? Scanners searched for life signs. At first they found nothing. Then slowly faint signals appeared. Underground, deep underground. The soldiers moved forward carefully. The silence pressed on them like a weight. Even the air felt heavy. And then, one by one, the lights across the city blinked out. Power grids died. Street lamps faded. Screens turned black. The aliens looked at each other nervously. Malfunction. Vastness, no, the commander said slowly. This is no accident. Someone shut it down. Above in orbit, the fleet noticed the same thing. Earth's satellites went dark. The small stations powered off. Even the signals from human communication networks stopped. A world that was alive and noisy became suddenly quiet, like a beast holding its breath. The commander tightened his grip on the console. Something was wrong, very wrong. He ordered more ships to scan deeper into the planet. Their machines searched every mountain, every ocean, every shadow. At first, the results came back empty. But then, far from Earth, something appeared on the scanners. Something massive. It was not on Earth, it was not even near Earth. It was farther out, past Mars, close to Jupiter. A shape. Huge. Too big to be a normal ship. Bigger than anything the Karix had ever seen. The commander's eyes widened. That cannot be real, he whispered. The officer beside him swallowed hard. Sir, it is there. A structure. Or a ship. No, many ships, silent, hidden in orbit around Jupiter. The alien bridge grew cold. Soldiers looked at each other, their confidence fading. One officer spoke nervously. Maybe it is old wreckage, abandoned, humans are weak. They could not have built this, but the commander was not so sure. His instincts screamed that this was no wreckage. This was something waiting. He turned to his fleet. Send a scout squadron. I want eyes on that object. Now the order was given. Small ships broke away from the fleet, engines glowing as they raced toward Jupiter. On Earth, the silence continued. Cities remained empty. Streets lay abandoned. The invaders searched, but the humans were nowhere to be seen. And deep below, hidden in the dark, humans were watching. They spoke quietly into their comms. One message passed through the underground network. They have arrived. Do not reveal. Let them see. The Karix did not hear this. They believed humans were afraid. They believed Earth was weak. But above Jupiter, the scout squadron approached the massive shadow. Their scanners screamed with static. Shapes loomed in the dark, and then one of the shadows moved. The alien pilot froze. It's alive, he whispered. The shadow turned, revealing lights the size of cities, glowing like the eyes of a monster waking from a long sleep. A deep voice echoed across the stars, calm and powerful. "You should not have come here," and in that instant, the Kariks knew Earth was not silent because it was weak. Earth was silent because it was waiting. The Karik scout squadron moved carefully toward Jupiter. 10 sleek alien ships flew in formation, their sensors scanning the massive dark shapes that drifted near the giant planet. At first, the scanners gave no clear results. The objects were too large, too complex. Some looked like moons, others like broken asteroids. But as the squadron drew closer, the truth began to appear. They were not rocks. They were not ruins. They were ships. Each one was colossal, bigger than any Karik's vessel. Their hulls stretched for kilometers, so large that entire cities could fit inside. And yet they were silent. No signals, no energy signatures, no movement. The alien pilots spoke nervously through their comms. Are they abandoned? They cannot be human. No race this primitive could build such giants. Maybe they are ancient relics left by some lost empire. The squadron leader did not answer. His hands were tight on the controls. His instincts whispered danger. He looked at the largest of the shapes. It hung near Jupiter's shadow, half hidden in the planet's red storm. Its surface was black metal, scarred but solid. It looked less like a ship and more like a moving world. The pilot swallowed hard. "Command, we found something. Something impossible." The message reached the alien flagship in Earth's orbit. The commander listened in silence. Around him, his officers argued, "Perhaps they are empty shells. Perhaps this is a trick, a human bluff. Impossible. Humans cannot build warships larger than a planet." But as the words were spoken, something changed. The massive ship near Jupiter stirred. At first, it was only a flicker of light. Then another. Giant panels across the hull began to glow one after another, like a sleeping titan opening its eyes. Blue fire ran across the surface, outlining towers and cannons the size of mountains. The alien scouts froze. One whispered, "It is waking up." And then came the voice. It was not a signal from the ship. It was not even a sound from the speakers. It was everywhere, vibrating through space itself. "You should not have come here." The voice was deep, calm, and unmistakably human. The alien pilots panicked. Engines roared as they tried to turn back. But it was already too late. Something invisible struck the first scout. The ship twisted violently, as if crushed by a giant hand. In a second, it imploded, breaking apart into glowing fragments. The pilot never had time to scream. The rest of the squadron scattered. They fired plasma bolts, hoping to hit the shadowy colossus. But their weapons vanished into the dark, absorbed by an unseen barrier. Another scout was caught in a sudden burst of energy. Its hull melted instantly, turned into liquid fire before exploding into dust. On the alien flagship, the commander rose from his seat. His voice shook for the first time. "Pull them back. Get them out of there." But the order was useless. One by one, the scout ships vanished. Some crushed, some burned, some simply disappeared into the dark. Finally, only one ship remained. Its pilot screamed into the comms, "They are not weak. They are not what we thought. You must leave. You must—" The signal cut. Silence returned. The commander's officers stared at him in horror. One whispered, "What did we just see?" The commander's hands trembled on the console. He had fought many battles. He had seen worlds burn. But never, never had he seen a weapon like this. He looked at Earth below, the quiet blue planet that seemed so fragile. He realized the truth. This silence was not weakness. It was warning, and yet he could not retreat. The pride of the Empire chained him. To flee now would mean admitting fear before the entire galaxy. He forced his voice steady. "Send more ships. We will not be frightened by shadows." The officers obeyed, but doubt filled their eyes. Above Jupiter, the colossal warship turned slowly, like a predator noticing its prey. Its weapons came alive, glowing brighter with every passing second, and as the Karik's fleet prepared their next move, a single signal echoed across the void, broadcast from the massive human ship to every channel. "Earth is not weak. Earth is awake." The aliens froze. That voice was human, calm, confident, merciless. For the first time, the invaders felt something strange. Not arrogance, not power, fear. The silence after the transmission was heavy. Every Karik ship, from the smallest fighter to the largest dreadnought, had heard the same words. Earth is not weak. Earth is awake. The alien commander stood frozen on the bridge of his flagship. His claws tapped the console nervously. He could still hear the panic in the voice of the last pilot, cut off mid-scream. He wanted to dismiss it as a trick, some desperate human bluff. But deep inside he knew the truth. Those planet-sized shadows near Jupiter were not ruins. They were alive, and they had just begun to stir. One of his officers spoke in a shaking voice. "Commander, the scans, they show movement. The giant structures are turning." On the massive screens, the fleet saw it clearly. The shadows near Jupiter shifted. First 1, then 3, then 10. Vast hulls glowed with power, ancient metals humming with life. Towers rose from their surfaces, cannons larger than mountains slowly aiming. Energy surged across their armor, lighting them like giant lanterns in the dark. It was like watching sleeping gods wake from a 1,000-year slumber. The Carrick's fleet moved into formation. Thousands of alien ships spread out, weapons charging, shields raised. Their commander barked orders, hiding his fear behind anger. "They cannot be invincible. Fire at will." The order echoed through the armada, and then the void lit up. Green and red plasma bolts poured across space, millions of weapons discharging at once. The sky around Jupiter became a storm of fire. The blasts struck the colossal human ships. Explosions rippled across their black hulls, smoke and sparks filling the void. For a moment, the Carricks thought they were winning. "See?" one officer cried. "They bleed like all the rest." But the celebration was short. The smoke cleared, and the human ships still stood. Their hulls glowed brighter now, as if they had absorbed the energy of the attack. Panels shifted, rearranging like living armor. The giant war machines were unharmed. Worse, they looked stronger. The alien bridge fell into stunned silence. The commander whispered, They are feeding on our fire." Before he could speak again, the humans struck back. The largest of the warships, the one half hidden in Jupiter's shadow, opened its maw. The cannon as wide as a city stretched forward, glowing white with energy. The Carrick's flagship was its first target. The commander barely had time to scream, "Evasive maneuvers!" Before the beam fired, a blinding white lance of energy shot across space. It tore through the alien flagship like a knife through paper. In one heartbeat, the massive vessel was nothing but a cloud of burning fragments. The commander and his crew were erased without a sound. The rest of the alien fleet panicked. "Scatter! Retreat! Protect the Empire!" But there was no protection. The human giants advanced. Their weapons roared, massive beams, bursts of plasma, storms of guided fire. Alien ships popped one after another, bursting like fragile glass against the fury of Earth's war machines. From the sides of the colossal ships, smaller vessels detached. At first they looked tiny compared to their titanic hosts, but each one was larger than any Carrick's dreadnought. They moved fast, swarming the aliens like wasps, tearing them apart with precision strikes. The Carricks were no longer an invading army. They were prey. On one alien cruiser, the captain watched helplessly as human ships surrounded his fleet. "This cannot be," he whispered. "They were supposed to be weak." His words ended as his cruiser split apart under a single blast. Back on Earth, deep underground, human commanders watched calmly. Their faces showed no fear, no joy, no rage, only quiet focus. They had prepared for this day for centuries. "Phase 1 complete," one officer reported. "Phase 2, unleash the fleet," said another. Signals were sent. Across the solar system, more titans stirred. From Saturn's rings, from the dark side of the moon, from deep within the asteroid belt, massive hidden ships came alive, each one bristling with weapons, each one ready for war. The humans had hidden in silence, waiting. The galaxy had thought them weak, blind, unworthy of notice. Now that lie was broken. Above Jupiter, the colossal flagship of Earth turned its glowing cannon toward the heart of the alien armada. A voice echoed across every channel, calm and cold. "You came to conquer us, but you woke the fleet. Now you will face extinction." The Carrick screamed as the cannon fired again. The Carrick's fleet was burning. What had entered the solar system as an unstoppable armada was now a scattered mess of broken ships, flaming wrecks and desperate survivors. The humans had unleashed their hidden giants, and nothing in the alien arsenal could stop them. One after another, the planet-sized warships advanced. Their cannons fired beams that cut through dreadnoughts like glass. Missiles rained from their hulls, guided with perfect precision, finding every weak spot. Smaller human vessels swarmed like predators, tearing apart anything that tried to escape. The battle was not a war, it was a slaughter. On one alien destroyer, the captain clutched the edge of his chair, eyes wide with horror. His crew screamed around him as human fire ripped through their shields. This is not possible," he whispered. "They were supposed to be weak." His words were drowned in fire as his ship exploded. The alien fleet commander was already dead, vaporized by the first cannon blast. Now the remaining officers argued, desperate and afraid. "Retreat!" One cried. "No. Hold formation. We can still fight," another shouted. "They are too strong. We must warn the Empire." But there was no time to decide. A second human Titan fired. Its beam lanced through 5 alien ships in a straight line, turning them to dust. The Carricks were finished. Above Jupiter, the humans advanced like executioners. The silence of their ships was more terrifying than any war cry. They did not taunt, they did not boast. They simply destroyed. On Earth, deep in hidden command bunkers, human officers watched the battle unfold on giant screens. Their voices remained calm, cold, professional. Enemy fleet down by 60%. Phase 3, block retreat routes. Deploy gravity nets. And so they did. The humans activated weapons the aliens had never even imagined. Invisible fields spread across space, bending gravity itself. Alien ships trying to jump into hyperspace were caught, their engines collapsing under the weight of distorted space. They were trapped like flies in a web. The alien survivors screamed in their comms. "We cannot escape!" "Hyperspace blocked. We are trapped." And then came the voice. It was human, calm and merciless, echoing across every frequency. "You came to conquer us. Now you will not leave." Panic spread through the Carricks' ranks. They fired wildly, sending desperate bolts of plasma into the void, but it was useless. The human Titans absorbed the energy like it was nothing. The smaller human ships hunted without mercy. They cut through alien squadrons, tearing apart fighters and corvettes. Alien soldiers inside screamed as their hulls split, and the void claimed them. On one surviving Carrick's battleship, an officer begged his captain, "Please, we must surrender. We cannot fight this." But the captain only shook his head, his pride stronger than his fear. "We do not surrender to prey." His words were his last. A swarm of human ships struck his battleship, breaking it apart in seconds. The humans pressed on, systematic and relentless. Their Titans fired beams that lit up the black of space, their smaller craft cutting through the enemy like knives. The alien armada, once proud, was reduced to nothing but wreckage drifting among the stars. The galaxy would hear of this battle. If any survivors lived to tell the tale, on Earth the commanders exchanged calm nods. One spoke, "The invaders are finished," but another officer frowned. "Not yet. A few ships are still trying to break through. They must not escape. If word reaches their empire, they will send more." Orders were given. The humans prepared their final strike. And then something strange happened. From the dark side of Saturn, another shadow began to move. Larger than the others, vast, almost beyond comprehension. The alien survivors saw it first. Their voices shook as they transmitted, Another one is waking, bigger than all the rest." The humans had not shown their greatest weapon yet. What the Carricks had faced was only the beginning. The shadow split the rings of Saturn as it rose, dwarfing even the colossal warships near Jupiter. Its surface glowed with power, a floating fortress the size of a small moon. For the first time, the humans spoke with pride instead of silence. Their message echoed across the system. "You thought we were hiding. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. Now you will see the full strength of Earth." The alien survivors felt their courage break. The battle was lost. Their empire would never believe it until it was too late. The fall of the invaders had begun. The surviving Carricks ships fled in desperation. Engines burned at full power as they tried to escape the solar system. But the gravity nets held them. Every hyperspace route was blocked. They were trapped inside a cage of humanity's making. They had thought Earth was a simple world. They had thought humans were weak. But the truth was only now being revealed. From hidden bunkers across Earth, human commanders continued their work. Calm voices reported every detail, every movement. There was no chaos, no panic. Only cold precision. One alien officer, watching the slaughter from the bridge of his damaged cruiser, whispered in disbelief, "How did we not know? How could they build all this in secret? The answer came from the humans themselves, a signal spread across every channel. Not a threat, not a demand, but a story. It began with simple words. You want to know why we are strong? Listen and learn. The message was broadcast across space, even to the trapped alien ships. For centuries, Earth had known it was being watched. Strange signals, silent visitors in the dark. The first humans to notice had been their scientists, then their governments, then their leaders. Humanity understood one thing. The galaxy was full of predators, so they prepared. While the galaxy saw Earth as slow and weak, humans hid their true strength. They built fleets in silence, hidden in the shadows of planets and moons. They carved weapons into asteroids, disguised war machines as rocks, and turned Saturn's rings into shields. They studied alien signals in secret. They cracked codes. They learned how others fought, and they built answers to every weapon. While alien empires laughed at their small rockets and fragile stations, humans were building titans, machines the size of moons, cannons that could split stars, engines that could bend space itself, and above all, they built in silence. The galaxy believed humans were too busy fighting each other, too busy with their small wars, their petty politics. And that was true on the surface. But beneath the surface, humanity was united by one purpose: survival. The human broadcast continued. You thought we were blind, but we were watching. You thought we were weak, but we were waiting. You thought we were prey, but we are the hunters. The alien crews listened in horror. Every word cut deeper than any weapon. One Carix officer shouted in panic, "They deceived us. For centuries they deceived us." The human broadcast did not stop. It revealed more: hidden bases under Earth's oceans, factories inside hollowed asteroids, testing grounds on the dark side of the moon. Generation after generation, humans had built their secret empire not for conquest, but for defense. They had seen what the galaxy did to the weak, and they refused to be weak. On one alien vessel, the crew argued, "This cannot be true. No race could hide such power for so long." But another officer, staring at the burning wreckage around them, answered quietly, "It is true. Look outside. We are dying because we believed the lie." And still the humans were not finished. From Saturn's shadow, the largest of their titans stirred. Its surface glowed brighter, panels shifting like the skin of some colossal beast. Its size dwarfed even the other planet ships. It was not just a weapon, it was something more. The alien survivors trembled. One whispered, "That is not a ship. That is a world." The human broadcast ended with a final warning. The time for hiding is over. The galaxy will know us now. If you come to Earth, you will not find victory. You will not find weakness. You will find the end. The message echoed into the void, not just to the Carix, but far beyond, carried on frequencies that other empires could hear. The humans had revealed themselves. The mask of weakness was gone. In the alien cruiser, silence filled the bridge. The crew stared at each other, realization sinking in. Their empire would never believe this until it was too late, and then alarms screamed. The Saturn Titan was charging its weapon. Its glow was brighter than a sun. Its energy made the very void tremble. The alien officer dropped to his knees. "We are finished." The weapon fired, and the stars lit with fire. The weapon fired. A beam brighter than the sun tore through the void. The Saturn Titan had spoken, and its voice was pure destruction. The energy ripped across space, swallowing the last formation of Carix warships. In seconds, dozens of alien vessels were nothing but dust and fire. Their screams cut short in silence. The alien survivors watched in terror. Their ships shook under the shockwave, shields collapsing, hulls cracking. Nothing in their empire's arsenal could resist such power. For a brief moment, space itself seemed to burn. Then silence returned, broken only by the desperate voices of the trapped aliens. "We cannot fight this," one whispered. "We cannot run," another said. The truth had crushed them. The solar system was no longer a weak world waiting for conquest. It was a fortress, a trap, a place where predators became prey. From Earth's hidden command bunkers, the human officers remained calm. They watched the enemy die without emotion. Their plan, prepared for centuries, had worked perfectly. One commander gave the final order: "Cleanse the skies. Leave no survivors." The humans obeyed. The smaller warships hunted down the scattered alien vessels, tearing through them with cold precision. No ship was spared. Gravity nets dragged crippled cruisers back into range, where beams and missiles ended them. But one alien vessel, broken and burning, still managed to send out a signal. A desperate call for help. Racing through the stars toward the Carix Empire, humans saw it. They allowed it, because Earth wanted the galaxy to hear. When the signal reached beyond the solar system, it carried not only the Carix screams, but also a human message, added to the broadcast. You thought we were weak. You thought Earth was prey, but you were wrong. You came to take our world. Now your world will learn fear. The words spread like wildfire across space. To every listening post, every spy satellite, every empire that thought Earth was nothing, they all heard the same voice. We are humanity. We are not weak. We are not prey. Come against us and we will break you. The galaxy trembled. On the burning alien cruiser, the crew slumped in silence. They knew the truth. Their empire would not ignore this. More fleets would come, stronger armies. The Carix would gather everything they had to crush Earth, but deep inside even they doubted. Could any empire defeat a world that had hidden moon-sized war machines and weapons that bent space itself? Could any army face a species that planned in silence for centuries, waiting for this very day? The humans seemed unstoppable, and yet, as the battle ended, as the last alien wreck drifted lifeless into Saturn's rings, one question remained. If Earth had been hiding for so long, what else were they hiding? Because the Saturn Titan was not alone. Across the solar system, more shadows moved. Shapes the size of mountains stirred in asteroid belts. Silent stations awoke on the moons of Neptune. Even the dark edges of Pluto seemed to glow. The aliens had seen only a fraction of Earth's strength. The broadcast ended with one final sentence, echoing into the dark. This was only the beginning, and then silence. The solar system was quiet again, but it was not the same. The battlefield was littered with burning wrecks, the remains of an empire that once thought itself unstoppable. The humans did not celebrate. They did not cheer. They simply returned to silence, watching, waiting. For Earth, this was not victory. It was warning. The galaxy now knew the truth. Humanity had risen from the shadows, and nothing would ever be the same. Somewhere, deep in the black of space, the Carix Empire would gather its fleets. Other empires would prepare their spies, their armies, their weapons. The hunters would come, but Earth was ready. The humans had waited for this moment for centuries. They would wait again. They would fight again. And when the next wave arrived, they would answer with fire, because humanity was no longer hiding. They had spoken their final message, and the galaxy had heard.